The first time she looked at me like that, I forgot I was supposed to still be heartbroken. It had been 3 weeks since Amanda and I ended things, or more accurately, since she ended things by ghosting me right after my birthday. 23 years old and humiliated. You think you're grown until someone makes you feel like a stupid, wide-eyed kid again. I'd gone back to her house to return the last box of her stuff. Not because I wanted to, but because her mom, Rhea, texted me asking if I could drop it off. I almost said no. I should have. But then I saw her again. She was wiping her hands on a dish towel, standing barefoot by the back door when I pulled up. Her dark hair was tied up messily. A pencil stuck through it like she forgot she was beautiful. A loose t-shirt, soft denim jeans, a gold chain around her neck. Nothing about her screamed, "Come in." And still I couldn't move. "You didn't have to come all the way here," she said, her voice quieter than I remembered. "I know," I said. "I stayed on the steps. I figured you'd want it back." She didn't open the box, just stared at it, then at me. Something about the way she was looking, not like a mom, not like someone older, just like a person. Someone who had seen me cry on this porch. Someone who'd made me tea the night Amanda cheated the first time and pretended she didn't know. "Want to come in?" she asked. I hesitated. Maybe too long. "It's just coffee," she added, as if she could read the war in my head. I followed her inside. The kitchen was too quiet. The fridge hummed like it had something to say, but neither of us did. She poured 2 mugs. I noticed she used the one with the cracked handle, the same one Amanda always rolled her eyes at. She didn't ask about her daughter. I didn't bring her up. Instead, she asked, "Are you still doing that teaching assistant thing at the university?" I nodded. 2 days a week. "You're good with people," she said. "You always were." She never really saw that in you, did she? That was the first time it hit me. She wasn't defending her daughter. She wasn't even pretending anymore. I looked up, but she was already turning away, opening a drawer for sugar. Her shoulders were stiff, like she regretted the words but couldn't take them back. "She never deserved you anyway," she said, just like that. No apology in her voice. I felt something twist in my chest. Not hurt, not confusion, just awake. "Why are you saying that?" I asked softer than I meant to. She turned. Our eyes locked. There was a pause that stretched longer than it should have. Long enough for me to notice how her fingers gripped the counter's edge. "I'm just tired of pretending she was good to you," she said. Her voice cracked, just slightly. Then she brushed past me to grab the cream from the fridge. But as she did, her hand grazed my forearm. She didn't pull back. Not immediately. Her fingers lingered, just for a breath too long. Neither of us said anything. But in that silence, something shifted. Something neither of us could take back. She sat across from me, stirring her coffee even though she didn't add anything to it. The air in the kitchen was warm but thick, like we were both waiting for someone else to walk in and snap the spell in half. But no one did. Just the 2 of us. I couldn't stop watching her hands. Not in a weird way, just the way her fingers moved. Graceful, sure, but tired too. Like someone who'd been holding too much for too long. I remember Amanda once said her mom was overly sentimental. I think that was the only thing we ever agreed on. "Can I ask you something?" I finally said, voice low. She looked up, not startled, just present. Too present. "You okay?" I asked. She smiled, but only with her mouth. "That's not usually a question people ask me." "Well," I said, "I'm not people." There was a beat, the kind that lands a little too heavy. She looked down at her cup again and said, "Today would have been my anniversary." That landed harder than I expected. "I didn't know," I said quietly. "Why would you?" she replied. And this time the smile was real, bitter but honest. "He left when Amanda was 16. It's not something I put on balloons." "I'm sorry," she shrugged. "I don't really feel much about it anymore. Just strange how certain days keep coming back, no matter how far you move on." I nodded, unsure what to say. But inside, something tugged at me. She didn't seem like someone who talked about herself easily. And yet, she let that slip like it had been aching to get out for years. I looked at her again. Her neckline dipped slightly, revealing the faint tan line of a necklace she wasn't wearing today. Her hair was messier now, a few strands falling around her face. She pushed one behind her ear, and I caught myself staring. This was dangerous. This was her. Not just Amanda's mom, Rhea. The woman who used to hand me lemonade in the backyard. Who told me to wear sunscreen before pool days. Who once ironed my shirt for a job interview because Amanda forgot. And yet, here we were. No daughter. No noise. Just her and me and a box of leftover memories no one wanted anymore. I could use some help in the garage, she said suddenly, setting her mug down. Just for a minute. If you're not in a rush. I hesitated. Felt like a test. Or a trap. Or maybe just what it was. A woman trying not to feel alone on a date that used to mean something. Yeah, I said, standing. Sure. We walked in silence toward the back door, the space between us smaller than it had any right to be. She opened the door, but before she stepped through, she turned slightly, fingers brushing my wrist as she passed. Not by accident this time. Not even close. The garage smelled like dust and old paint. Boxes stacked high, shelves half collapsed. She flicked on a dim bulb that buzzed like it didn't want to be here either. I've been meaning to clear this out for years, she said, brushing off a crate. Just never got around to it. I nodded, hands in my pockets. What are we looking for? I think just a reason to stay busy, she murmured, almost too soft to catch. She knelt near a shelf, pulling out an old radio tangled in cords. I crouched beside her, instinctively reaching to help untangle the mess. Our fingers met once, then again, too often for it to be coincidence. And neither of us pulled back. I could feel the warmth of her skin through mine. Something tightened in my chest. A kind of low, nervous heat I hadn't felt in months. Maybe years. She looked at me, eyes darker in the half-light. You okay? She asked. You keep asking me that, I whispered. Because you never really answer. I opened my mouth, but what was I supposed to say? That the way she said my name still echoed sometimes? That I'd started dreaming of her instead of her daughter? That I wasn't just here because of a cardboard box? I'm fine, I finally said. She smiled, gently, like she didn't believe a word. I stood up quickly, trying to break the moment. Do you, want this radio out or... Knock knock. The sound came sharp, distant, front door. We both froze. She straightened, brushing dust from her knees, suddenly more composed than she'd been all day. I'll check, she said, voice neutral again, like a switch flipped. I watched her walk off, slower than usual, but not hesitant. I stayed in the garage, heart doing things it shouldn't. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't want to be here. The voices from the front door were muffled. I only caught the tone, casual, upbeat. A woman. Neighbor maybe. Too long a chat for just a package drop-off. I should have left. I should have used the back gate and vanished like none of this happened. Instead, I stood there like an idiot, staring at the coils of extension cords and trying to remember how breathing worked. When she came back, her smile was tighter, guarded. Neighbor, she said. Wanted me to sign something. Sorry. I nodded. Didn't ask questions. But when she stepped closer again, too close, she didn't sit this time. She stood across from me, and in that narrow space between us, something pulsed. Are you okay? I asked, unsure why I even said it. She didn't answer. Instead, she reached out, slowly, deliberately, and fixed the collar of my shirt. Her fingers brushed my neck. A pause. Too long. Not maternal. Not casual. Just heat and silence and something terrifying. I should go, I said, but I didn't move. Her hand stayed on my collarbone a moment longer. She didn't say don't, but she didn't let go either. She finally let go. Her hand dropped from my collar like it had just realized what it was doing. Like it had betrayed her, or maybe betrayed something she wasn't ready to admit. We stood there, close enough to feel each other's breath. Neither of us moved. Neither of us knew how. I should go, I said again, quieter this time. You already said that, she replied, just above a whisper. I swallowed. My chest ached. It wasn't lust. Not really. It was Something older. Something tangled and confusing. Something I didn't want to name. She stepped back and ran a hand through her hair. Frustrated. Like she was mad at herself for letting the moment stretch too far. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't mean to." "You did." I cut in. "Because I'm tired of pretending I don't see you." The silence between us deepened. Not awkward. Not even painful. Just true. Like we both knew we'd wandered past the point of no return but hadn't dared to name it. She leaned back against the garage wall, arms crossed. Defensive posture but not closed. "You're young," she said finally. "You think this is something else." "No," I said. "I used to think it was something else. Now I know it's you." She didn't answer. Her eyes flicked away, then back. I saw her throat tighten like she wanted to swallow the moment whole and make it disappear. "You're my daughter's ex," she said. "You lived in this house. I saw you grow up." "You didn't see me, though," I said. "Not like this. Not like now." She laughed once, sharp, unsure. Then her voice dropped. "And now? Now you look at me like you don't know whether to kiss me or run." That stopped everything. She stared at me, her lips slightly parted. Her chest rose and fell once, then again slower. The air in the garage was still, like it was holding its breath too. She didn't deny it, didn't flinch, but she didn't move either. "I think about you," I said, softer now. "More than I should. More than I want to. I know I shouldn't be saying this. I know it's wrong. But I need you to hear it." She blinked once. Slow, like the weight of my words made her see something she hadn't let herself admit. Then she said the only thing that could have broken me open. "So do I." No smile. No flinch. Just the truth, naked and irreversible. We stood there in that silence. Every inch between us trembling. Not touching. Not speaking. Not moving. One breath away from everything changing. Her words sat between us like something sacred or dangerous. "So do I." But before I could reach for her, before either of us could make the next irreversible move, her phone buzzed on the workbench. She glanced at it, then froze. She didn't pick it up, didn't move, just stared at the screen like it was something poisonous. "Everything okay?" I asked. She took a step back, visibly shaken now. "It's Amanda." I blinked. "She's calling?" "No. She sent a voicemail." She looked at me, and for the first time so I made him leave. I pushed until he left me. "Don't tell him I said this. I just assumed. You had no reason not to. I should have seen you," she said. "Back then. When you needed someone to say, you didn't deserve that." I looked at her, really looked. "I think maybe you just did." Her breath hitched. She reached for my hand, but before she could touch me, the front door creaked open. Footsteps. Ria's eyes widened. Her fingers curled inward, not from fear, but decision. "Stay here," she whispered. Then she turned and stepped out of the garage, leaving me alone. Heart pounding, everything unraveling and reforming at the same time. I stayed in the garage like she told me to. Each second dragged. The walls felt tighter. My hands wouldn't stop twitching. I could hear muffled voices, hers, another woman's. Probably the neighbor again. Friendly tone, nothing urgent. But the longer she was out there, the more my thoughts spiraled. Was she rethinking everything? Was that voicemail just a momentary slip of honesty she already regretted? I stared at the old radio still on the bench. I picked it up, turning it in my hands. Dust on my palms. It didn't even work anymore. Like most things in this house, it had just been kept around out of habit. When she returned, her face was calm. Too calm. She closed the door behind her gently and leaned against it, like she needed it for balance. Her eyes didn't meet mine right away. "She was just dropping off some garden clippings," she said. "Didn't see you." I nodded. Waited. "She'll be back in a few days," Ria added. "Amanda. She's flying in." There it was. The thing neither of us wanted to say. Cleared my throat. "Does that change anything?" "I don't know," she said. "Should it?" "I think it already did." That hung there for a beat too long. Then she crossed the room slowly, until we were face to face again. I don't want to pretend, she said. Not with you. I'm too old for games. Too tired for shame. Then don't, I said. Don't pretend this didn't happen. Her jaw tightened. If we go down this road, we don't get to walk it back. There's no version of this that's simple. I don't want simple, I said. I want real. She looked at me, really looked, and something in her face cracked open. Not fear, not hesitation, just truth. You made me feel seen, she said, her voice thick. Not because you wanted anything, just because you looked at me like I was someone worth looking at again. You are. She reached up, fingers gently brushing my face. Not possessive, not seductive, just there. Honest and terrifying and warm. I thought love was supposed to be tidy, she whispered. Instead, I leaned into her hand, closed my eyes for a second, and breathed her in like I'd never done it before. When I opened them, hers were already waiting. We didn't kiss. We didn't need to. She pulled me into a quiet hug. Full body, arms locked, breath caught. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel like I was waiting for someone to leave. I'm not asking for forever, she murmured. Just don't disappear, I said. She nodded. I won't. It's been 6 months. I haven't seen Amanda since she flew in that weekend. We never talked, never cleared the air. And honestly, we didn't need to. That part of my life, the shame, the confusion, the doubt, it doesn't belong to me anymore. Rhea does. What started as a strange, impossible connection turned nights where I almost walked away just to protect whatever part of me still flinched at how complicated it all looked from the outside. But she never let me disappear. She'd show up with coffee and that tired smile. She'd sit next to me and not say a word, just letting me exist. And I'd listen to the creak of her floorboards, the hum of her too-old fridge, the small sounds of her world, and realize I didn't miss the noise I used to chase. Love didn't come with fireworks. Came with Sunday mornings. The smell of old vinyl playing through that barely working radio we decided to keep. Her hand brushing mine while we passed the newspaper back and forth. There was a night, early on, where I asked her, "Are we doing this?" And she looked at me, a little amused, a little sad, and said, "We're already doing it. The question is, are we brave enough to keep going?" I still am. Sometimes I catch her watching me the way I used to watch her. Like she can't believe we made it through the guilt and the silence and the second-guessing. Like she's still afraid to let herself be happy. But then I reach for her hand, and she lets me, every time. She's not just my ex's mom anymore. She's not a label or a scandal or a story people whisper about behind curtains. She's just Rhea, the woman who stood at the edge of something forbidden and didn't walk away. And me? I stopped waiting to feel like I deserve her. I'm learning that love doesn't always arrive how you expect. Sometimes it comes late. Sometimes it walks in after the damage. Sometimes it waits in the garage, covered in dust, until you're brave enough to open the door again.